News Live at 6, a program teaching the art of self-defense.
Plus, the alumnus governor is in town. What she had to say today about childcare.
And the latest in Mayor Ben Walsh's school bus stop arm program. News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Last night, SU students had the chance to work with the founder of the Feminist Self-Defense for Everyone workshop at the Barnes Center. Welcome into News Live at 6. I'm Riley Faye, in for Mike Lamore.
And I'm Jake Morel. They learned some valuable lessons on how to connect with your signals and how to set boundaries. Our reporter Lucy Schaffer tells us more.
On campus at the Barnes Center, SU students had the chance to learn how to set boundaries and the basics of self-defense from the founder Rachel Piazza, who started the workshop Feminist Self-Defense for Everyone 10 years ago.
Jiu-Jitsu for 16 years, and I'm also an adjunct professor of women's and gender studies. So I was able to kind of put together these two sort of areas of expertise to create a program that, unlike traditional self-defense programs, isn't victim blaming, kind of takes into account the reality of gender-based violence.
Piazza's goal is to teach students skills, strategies, and tools to have less fear. She helps students understand the values of verbal boundary setting and setting physical boundaries to help us better connect with our body's signals and connect to an action.
This is Syracuse University's second year hosting this workshop, and the Gaia Sororities chapter first year partnering with the workshop, where they want all women to learn.
Goals is unity amongst all women, and we just want to make sure that women are educated on how to protect themselves against any violence, against any danger, because sexual assault is a huge issue.
I think we're effective or potentially we're problematic. And I was like, well, I think I could do that better. And so I just started trying to do it better. And then over time have, kind of tweaked my programming. I do more verbal boundary setting now than I did before, and just saw the potential that it had.
The workshop was more than a lesson in self-defense. It taught everyone how to set boundaries and have a deeper connection to themselves. It was a reminder that safety and strength go hand in hand. Reporting for Citrus TV News, I'm Lucy Schaffer.
Thanks, Lucy. Well, put on your dancing shoes because Orange After Dark is teaming up with the Best Buddies program to host the second annual Friendship Ball.
Our Sophia Braun joins us live to tell us what's in store for tonight's dance.
Thanks, guys. I'm here at the Goldstein Auditorium in the Shine Student Center, where events are lined up for tonight, one of which in a few hours, if you see behind me, it will be decked out for the Friendship Ball hosted by the Best Buddies program here at SU. So taking a look behind me, we're going to have a DJ booth out in front for the event. All the seats are going to be taken away to make room for a dance floor, and then around the perimeter, snacks and arts and crafts will be available for everyone to enjoy throughout the night for tonight's event.
So it really just embodies the mission of creating friendships and creating a space for everybody regardless of having a disability or not having a disability.
The Best Buddy mission statement says that the Best Buddies is dedicated to establishing a global volunteer movement that creates opportunities for one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership, development, inclusive living, and family support for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. According to Ridge, she says that inclusive you feels distant sometimes from the greater Syracuse student body, and events like tonight's event will help bridge the gap and bring people together of all abilities to participate in the fun. So reporting from the Shine Student Center for Citrus TV News, I'm Sophia Braun. Guys?
Thanks, Sophia. What makes an event like this Friendship Ball so important for our community to engage with?
This is particularly important because it all goes along with the mission statement. So for students to come out and be able to engage with other clubs and other organizations and seeing that representation here on campus, students are more likely to then participate in those activities as well, and also just celebrate that they have completed this year and have made a lot of new friends in the process. That's all I have from here. Reporting again in the Student Center, I'm Sophia Braun.
Sophia, thank you. Well, good business here on the Hill. U.S. News and World Report ranks the Whitman School's master's program the 54th best among graduate schools. It's the Whitman School's best ranking in over 25 years. The entrepreneurship graduate program ranks 29th in the nation. Dean Alex McKelvey says Whitman is still on the rise and takes pride in their academic achievements.
Now, New York Governor Kathy Hochul spoke in Syracuse earlier today to voice support on efforts against child abuse.
That's an SU alum, Governor Kathy Hochul. She was here to give remarks at an event put on by the Ryan McMahon, excuse me. A couple big figures mixing up there. Alex Burstein, just going to bring him in here to tell us what she said at the event. Alex, good evening, man. Welcome in.
Yeah, Jake, a little confusing there. It was a short and sweet speech at the Go Blue for Kids breakfast, lasting just around 7 minutes. Hochul focused on the large number of domestic violence cases that are thrown out just on technicalities. Here's a closer look at the governor's quick speech in the Salt City.
I want to make sure that his voice is elevated. Maybe to run for office someday, not for governor of New York State.
A relaxed Governor Kathy Hochul took a break from ongoing budget talks Friday morning to speak at the Blue for Kids breakfast at the Marriott Syracuse downtown.
That's why I wanted to come here of all the places in the state. It's really nice to be out of Albany.
Hochul, the day's last speaker, says she's working on less leeway for abusers.
The budget is a little delayed right now because I'm fighting to make sure that when we have victims and we have people who are accused, people need to go to jail or be at least tried, that we don't have cases thrown out on technicalities.
The New York budget already 17 days late, but Hochul is standing on one point.
But I said I'm not signing this budget until it includes common sense reforms to those laws. And my friends, I'm about to get that done.
Both Hochul and Syracuse Deputy Mayor Sharon Owens presented proclamations honoring the group and efforts against child abuse. Before Hochul's speech was a keynote by Elijah Lee, a 17-year-old activist who was quite enthusiastic to be right ahead of the governor.
That was insane. I mean, I've always admired Governor Hochul for the amazing work that she's doing here in New York, the work that she's doing to really help young people in New York, and so I was just really, really excited.
Now, while McMahon Ryan may sound familiar, Onondaga County Executive Ryan McMahon is not a board member or part of the organization's staff. Reporting in studio, I'm Alex Burstein, CitrusTV News.
Now, Syracuse police are also investigating a stabbing between an 11 and 12-year-old. Last night, officers responded to the north side to find a 12-year-old boy with multiple stab wounds to the chest and back. He was taken to Upstate Hospital and is stable. Later that night, officers also responded to another stabbing of an 11-year-old boy. He was treated on the scene, and investigators believe the two incidents are related. Now, anybody with information is asked to call the number on your screen.
Syracuse police also say they're investigating a shooting on the city's south side. Officers say they responded to Palmer Avenue at 9 last night, and they say they found a man shot in the leg. He is currently receiving treatment at Upstate Hospital and is in stable condition.
Syracuse police have found a missing man. 57-year-old Albert Sinke Jr. was found dead in Salina near railroad tracks. Officers say there were no signs of foul play or trauma, but he was last seen April 4th, about a mile away from where he was found. The cause of death is still unknown.
New details tonight in the case of Abdi Rashad Noor, who was charged with the death of 9-year-old Charlie King in a car accident. Noor was sentenced to 1 to 3 years in prison in Madison County Court earlier today. 2 years ago, Noor tried to overtake a line of cars when he crashed into another car going the opposite way. He and the 2 passengers in his car, as well as King's mom, Jordan, were injured. His charges include manslaughter and assault.
New York State and local police are ramping up patrols ahead of April 20th. The increased coverage will be directed at marijuana-related impaired driving on roads and highways. This comes as the state's drug recognition program is aiming to have 550 expert officers by the end of the year. All officers are also required to undergo basic roadside impairment training.
And Mayor Ben Walsh will host a demonstration for the school bus stop arm cameras. It'll be held on April 21st, the first day of the warning period. During the 30-day warning period, drivers who illegally pass school buses with their stop arm out will receive a warning but will not be fined. Anyone who does it after the 21st will be fined. Now, Riley, let's turn to some better news now, and that's the weather. I walked outside today and
Gorgeous.
I was like, finally, finally it was warm. Finally, I felt almost a little sweaty walking here in my suit. Not sure about you.
Yeah, I was perfect in my dress. It was a gorgeous day. The sun was shining. It was so nice to be outside.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, if it's nice weather today on a Friday, I'm just hoping for that first beautiful weekend of spring so I can play die with Carson Fowler, our sports reporter. Sigourney, please tell me we have nice weather tomorrow.
Well, I won't tell you what tomorrow's going to be looking like just yet, but I will say that today is a perfect day to go out with your fraternity brothers. I mean, frat row was crazy today. I mean, the music was playing very loud, and I honestly enjoyed it because, like you said before, it is a beautiful day. It's 69 degrees outside. Like Riley said, it's a perfect day to walk around with some short shorts on or with your dress. I mean, I loved it. Now, it is have some pretty strong wind gusts with 35 miles per hour, which making it a little cooler. Now, looking forward to tonight, it is going to drop to 65 degrees, which is still pretty warm, and I consider that a good day in Syracuse. Looking across the board, everyone's going to have some pretty warm temperatures, and we can all be very grateful for that, with Rome at a low of 64. But I mean, this is a perfect time, like Jake was saying, to go out and listen to some music and sit on your porch because it's a beautiful day. It's spring. Spring has come. That's the weather I have for you today. I'll get more back to what the weekend weather is going to look like later on in the show.
Thanks, Sigourney. Well, enter Sandman, more like enter Metallica. The band is taking on the JMA Wireless Dome tomorrow night. The show starts at 6 p.m. with Pantera and Suicidal Tendencies as openers. This is Metallica's first concert in the Syracuse area in almost 30 years and their only stop in New York for the year.
Coming up on News Live at 6, lawmakers make plans to visit El Salvador to see the Maryland man who was wrongfully deported by the Trump administration. Stick around for all the new details on that story.
And President Trump changes course when it comes to handling the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Stay with us.
Welcome to Live from Studio B.
Welcome to another episode of Culturally and Technically Legal.
Previously on Survivor.
Welcome back to the Esports News Box, where we break down this week's esports news into digestible sizes for easy consumption.
Do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
watching Citrus TV News, live at 6 with Jake Morel, Mike Lamore, and Sigourney Bell. And now, your campus news leader continues.
Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen returned to the U.S. after a trip to El Salvador to talk to Kilmar Abrigo Garcia. Van Hollen says he was traumatized by the imprisonment. The man who was deported by the Trump administration, the White House accused Garcia of being an MS-13 gang member and continues to resist his return back to the U.S.
The president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, visited the White House this week, and he said that Garcia will not be returned despite him being deported without due process. The Trump administration admits that Garcia's deportation was an error, but the White House is now having a showdown with the federal courts as they've been ordered to return Garcia. Democrats are saying that he was wrongfully deported and is a family man trying to escape El Salvadorian gangs. He was, of course, ordered to not return to El Salvador in that 2019 court ruling.
But we're not going to continue with this endeavor for weeks and months on end. So we need to determine very quickly now, and I'm talking about in a matter of days, whether or not this is doable over the next few weeks. If it is, we're in.
That was Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Paris earlier today. Rubio says the U.S. will stop trying to broker a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine within coming days if peace is not reached. Rubio told reporters the U.S. is not trying to spend weeks and months on end, and the U.S. has other priorities to focus on.
The Russia-Ukraine war has been ongoing since February of 2022. During the campaign this past fall, President Trump promised to end the conflict, quote, on day one. He initially said the fighting would end in just those first few days of his presidency. Now it seems to carry on.
The U.S. launched an airstrike on an oil port held by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels. The overnight strike in Yemen killed 74 people and injured 170 people. The U.S. is targeting the Houthis because of the group's attacks on shipping in the Red Seas.
This comes as the U.S. and Iran have resumed negotiations in Rome over Iran's advancing nuclear program. Hours after the strike, the Houthis launched retaliatory missiles aimed at Israel, but they were intercepted by the Israeli military.
And a federal judge is blocking President Trump's efforts to dismantle the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The ruling earlier today says the Bureau cannot go forward with plans to fire hundreds of employees. Roughly around 1,500 employees are slated to be cut, leaving around 200 people in the Bureau.
U.S. District Judge Amy Jackson says she is, quote, deeply concerned that the Trump administration is not complying with the court's orders. The previous order would maintain the Bureau's existence until she rules on the merits of a lawsuit seeking to preserve it. Judge Jackson scheduled a hearing on the 28th for testimonies from officials who wanted to cut the Bureau's workforce.
And coming up on News Live at 6, I'll have your 5-day forecast plus some good old Friday news trivia. Stay with us.
Hi, my name is Sadie Miller.
My name is Luke Brady. I go by St. Luke.
So this one I started with this guitar lick.
Meet Norm. He lives with anxiety, but with the help of this latest innovation from Be Normal, he can be normal, just like everyone else. With the swipe of a finger, you can project happiness, confidence, machismo. Why settle for being real when you can be normal? The Normal Maker, new from Be Normal. This item doesn't really work because there's no such thing as normal. We're all different. What we like, how our brains work. In fact, 1 in 5 of us live with mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Start by talking to someone you trust. And remember, there is no normal.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, This is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Welcome back to Live at 6. Now, Jake and Riley were asking me before if this good weather was here to stay. Unfortunately, it's not. We are going to have rain on Saturday and on Monday, but we're going to have some pretty high temperatures. Look, at Saturday, we're going to have 69 degrees, and we're going to kind of keep those temperatures in the 50s and 60s for the rest of the week. And then on Wednesday, we will get some sun, so the spring is here to stay just a little bit. Now, I was walking around Green Lake State Park, and it was just a beautiful day outside. It was so nice. The weather was so warm there, and the water was so blue. It was beautiful, but it got me thinking, I mean, how hot has it gotten in Syracuse? So I wanted to ask our anchors a little trivia question because I know they love my trivia questions. What year was the hottest day in Syracuse? Was it 2023, 1940, 1936, or 2002? What do you guys think?
I'm going to say 1940. I feel like it could not have been that recent, and I don't know.
I'm going to go with the recency here. I got to go with 2023, right? You know, the whole climate change thing that everybody keeps talking about?
Oh, you know that thing that they keep saying. It's actually 1936, a really long time ago, and that's kind of unfortunate. I wish it was in 2023 because that's when I was on campus, and I would have loved a warm day. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but I wanted to also ask you guys another question. What was the temperature of the hottest day? Was it 99 degrees, 102, 89, or 105 degrees?
I'm saying D, 105.
It's got to be 105, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we got to go with the hottest there, right? That's not even that hot.
I feel like that's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wait, that's burning up. I would hate that.
I mean, but in some other areas of the country, that's very
Right, that's
normal for a
nothing.
summer day, right?
True, true, true. Okay, it's actually 102 degrees. You guys were
Oh.
super close.
She tricked us.
And that's a pretty hot day. Imagine that temperature right now. What will you guys be wearing? Shorts,
Love.
shorts, t-shirts, t-shirts?
Maybe. Perhaps a hat. Probably sunscreen.
Perhaps,
Yes,
perchance.
yes.
Well, that's my trivia for today. I'll send it over to sports.
It's a rivalry as old as time. Syracuse and Boston College find out if the Orange took care of business or if the Eagles stole the win on the road. Right here at the Salt City Sports is next.
Welcome back to this week's episode of the Sideline Squeeze. I'm Victoria Daly.
And I'm Lindsay Aarons.
Jumping right into Thursday night football, the Commanders took on the Eagles last night. 3-0 the last 3 games. Virginia Tech is coming to the Dome tomorrow.
Fran Brown has just totally changed the culture of Syracuse football for the better.
September 14th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, we have a big fight card. Mikey, it's Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga.
The Eagles completely clicked on all cylinders in this second half.
Let's go to the finals predictions. What are you thinking?
I'm going Liberty and Sun, and I'm going Liberty taking it home this year.
On Bones Jones really kept his heavyweight here. I mean, a pure dominant TKO.
With November comes playoff time for women's soccer. That means the ACC tournament is in full swing, and the NWSL playoffs are not too far behind.
She's dominant in the paint. She scores in the paint. We know that she's aggressive. She littles everybody. But what does the perimeter look like?
It was a solid season for the Orange. I mean, like you said, 13-7 on the season, 4-4 in conference play.
You got Cameron Breen, you got Rakia Jackson. You just need somebody at that guard spot that's a little thin in that area. That could be a dangerous trio in the WNBA.
Si un día fueras a tu escondite secreto y en lugar de lo que buscabas encuentras esto, ¿qué harías? Antes de que las drogas te afecten a ti y a tu familia, debes saber que cuentas con la ayuda necesaria. Tú puedes dejarlas. Si tú o un ser querido están luchando contra el uso indebido de drogas, llama al 1-800-662-4357 para información confidencial y gratuita o remisión a tratamiento. Visita samsa.gov/conoce los riesgos.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Boy, has it been an up and down year for Syracuse women's lacrosse, and let's just say yesterday was more of the latter for Kayla Trainer Squad. Good evening and welcome to sports. I'm Carson Fowler. SU hosted number 2 ranked Boston College yesterday for its final game of the regular season, but it wasn't inside the JMA Dome. No, actually it was happening in Christian Brothers Academy because the Metallica concert was happening this weekend. Christian Brothers Academy is a local high school here in the greater Syracuse area, but this was definitely one that Syracuse wants back. 17-2 the final score. How about this one from Molly Driscoll, just right in front of the net. She got the scoring started for the Eagles, 1-0. And then just look at this one. McKenna Davis wraparound goal. Let's see that one more time in slow motion. Are you kidding me? 9-0 Eagles at that point, and there was just more of the same as the rest of the game went on. The final score, like I mentioned, 17-2. But here's a save. They were trying to get Megan Rowe to get on the board, but that was 10-0. Just not a great game for the Eagles. And Syracuse finished the regular season 5-4 in the ACC. They'll fly down to Charlotte next week for the conference tournament, where they'll match up with the Stanford Cardinal. It's the second time these two have played this year. Last time out, SU defeated Stanford 14-13 in double overtime inside the JMA Dome. And as for Syracuse men's lacrosse, they're 6-1 in their last 7 starts. The lone loss coming to Cornell last Saturday. Owen Hiltz had 4 goals in that game. He leads the team with 31. The Orange on the road again this week, headed to Durham for a date with the 13th ranked Duke Blue Devils. SU has not beaten Duke on its turf since 2018, when it won 15-14. Face-off is scheduled for 2 p.m. Eastern time. And how about the Syracuse Mets? Three games in a row they've won. They're doing everything right. How about this one? They had 2 scores in this game, and they both came in the first inning. Joe Maness, an RBI single that brings home Nico Goodham to get the scoring going for Syracuse. And then later on in the first inning, it's Billy McKinley. Big swing of the bat from the prospect for the AAA Mets. They come away with a win, 2-0, the final score. And they're well on their way to getting back to 500. They're 8-9 now. That was yesterday. Now they're playing later today. They won their first game 3-0, and they'll get their second game next up, the final from MBT Bank Stadium. They're trying to get 4 in a row. They're 8-9, and we've got an update from the Knicks as well. They're in the first round of the NBA playoffs. They begin tomorrow. They're hosting the Pistons at Madison Square Garden at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Detroit's won 3 of the 4 regular season matchups this year, but New York, just a season ago, the Pistons won 14 games. This year they've won 44, and they're in the playoffs the first time since 2019. Good news for the Knicks, though. Tom Thibodeau says that everyone is healthy and has practiced, despite some reports that OG Anunoby could miss some time after he suffered a right thumb sprain last week. New York, the heavy betting favorite to win the first round playoff series against Detroit. Guys.
Carson, I've got one quick question for you. Do you see an upset happening? The Pistons over the Knicks in the first round?
I mean, I just think outside of Cade Cunningham, they really don't get that much scoring. So it's like, is he going to put on his LeBron shoes? Is he going to take over, or is it just going to be next time? Your GOAT is Cade Cunningham, or LeBron's your GOAT?
Well, he might be. I love
pouring
honey on him. I had to pour honey one more time on the show. Carson Fowler, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
When we come back, your wake-up weather. Stick with us.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back to News Live at 6. Now, unfortunately, you need to go outside and enjoy this good weather while it lasts, because tomorrow it's going to be raining. It's still going to be warm. It's going to be 69 degrees outside, but I mean, the sun's not going to be out, so that's not the best. But we're going to have some rain starting at 2:30 p.m. It's going to last pretty much for the rest of the day, but that's what you have to look forward to when you wake up for your Saturday.
Sigourney, thank you. I'm not totally looking forward to that rain, but do you have any big weekend plans, Riley?
Nothing outside, but I'll definitely have to go outside before 2:30 p.m. to get vitamin D.
Yeah, I think I'm going to need to do the same thing. Maybe even go outside right now after our show, because that is all the time that we have for you on News Live at 6 this Friday.
I'm Riley Faye. Don't forget you can follow us on X and Instagram at CitrusTV News.
Now for the entire Citrus TV News team, I'm Jake Morel. Have a great night, Syracuse. Go outside, enjoy the weather, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Thanks for joining us.